If you didn't watch yesterday's video, I highly encourage you to do so. Why? Because I basically started the video by saying I was utterly tired of taking a look at more of your negative developments and wanted to take a look at something more positive, and here I am. Boeing is once more under pressure, as the Federal Aviation Administration revealed in the last 24 hours it is opening a new investigation into the manufacturer. A move to investigate follows Boeing's own identification that required inspections on the 787 Dreamliner may not have been completed. The FAA will investigate to confirm whether Boeing completed not just the required inspections, but also whether employees falsified key aircraft records. Following the announcement of the investigation, Boeing saw an immediate drop in its stock as a response. The manufacturer has largely experienced a pretty turbulent start to the 2024 calendar year, with basically each passing month revealing something new and damning on the business. The FAA added that Boeing is currently re-inspecting 787s in the production phase to determine, of course, if any faults are present. Additionally, the company must create a thorough plan to address the in-service fleet in response to the latest revelations. This latest investigation I talk about focuses on the bonding and grounding where the wings join the fuselage. Moreover, the revelation centers once more around the quality of production and the negligence from top to bottom in maintaining the highest standards. Per the Wall Street Journal, who first broke the story, the issues with the Dreamliner are not poised to create any immediate safety concerns. However, they are still alarming, as once more the manufacturer negatively positions itself with a new problem. The FAA has made it clear, though, that Boeing were the ones that came forward voluntarily to reveal that specific inspections may not have been completed, alongside a focus on the falsified record of documents. When a door blowout incident occurred at the top of the 2024 calendar year, there was a significant focus placed on understanding how such a thing could happen. However, the angle changed very quickly when further loose bolts were found on parked 737 MAX jets. From focusing just on the incidents, priorities were shifted to the integrity of Boeing planes. Additionally, attempting to understand how so many loose bolts were found and what had been going wrong on the production floor was a key priority as well. As part of an immediate response, the FAA launched several investigations into the aircraft manufacturer. Among these investigations, we saw formal audits conducted in the most thorough manner you'd argue yet. These audits have seen the regulator really get hands-on with Boeing, as inspections have been conducted on the production floor. In response, Boeing has been unable to increase production rates for its aircraft, the FAA really being the ones who barred an increase, citing the negative ramifications of such a move that would be felt through the long-term focus on safety. Also, another angle to explore is under the current inspection rates. Boeing simply can't increase production rates because it's not even meeting the maximum that is being allowed. In fact, we've seen those rates significantly drop off in the last, say, month and a half. The FAA said Boeing must provide a comprehensive turnaround plan to address key concerns outlined across a multi-year period. Production ramp-ups are allowed only once the FAA is satisfied with Boeing's work to turn around its fortunes and instill a new culture of quality and safety. As Boeing obviously faces further inspections, many new problems are being identified because of this. Additionally, the manufacturer has come forward to identify several things that may have been missed on their part. You can comment down below if you believe that's a good thing or really changes anything, but onlookers will definitely argue that what's been happening in the last decade, when, say, the pressures from the FAA and oversight from them was nowhere near as strong as they are now, just how much slipped through. Obviously, there has to be an understanding as well that given the complexities around building an aircraft, whether it is Embraer, Boeing, or Airbus, every single part can't be checked. There has to be an element of trust there. but that trust has been broken on the part of the American plane maker. In response to the difficulties, Boeing has seen several changes at the board level. However, this type of change shouldn't come as a shock, as it's not the first time that Boeing has cleaned house in, say, the last 5 years. You may recall following the late 2010 MAX incidents, a lot changed higher up. And despite these changes and a promise to instill a new culture, that wouldn't necessarily result in the manner maybe people would have hoped, as the same reoccurring problems with profit over safety would return in 2024 this year. Analysts argue that Boeing must step back and rethink its long-term strategy. The hopeful result would see a shift in the culture and greater priority placed on the quality of aircraft delivered to customers. So where did Boeing go wrong? I think probably the perfect area to focus in on for the end of this video. Boeing has long struggled with quality issues. I don't think that's necessarily a lie. However, the rapid rate at which new ones are being identified is alarming, considering this is something that the plane maker wants to stamp out rather than have to continue reporting. It's not going to get anywhere if more and more are appearing. Analysts share very differing opinions when I've contacted them about where you can pinpoint things going wrong. Some would definitely argue that the McDonnell-Douglas merger of the late 1990s that saw an immediate shift in the culture at Boeing could be deemed as a catalyst, because at this point no longer was the sole priority of building quality aircraft and innovating. The shift was visible with a much larger focus on the stock market and profits. I'll always say that there's nothing wrong with focusing on profits, but in a business where safety is so important, you can't simply focus on one and see the other drop off like a cliff. Others will argue that the rails came off when Airbus began moving ahead with the A320neo. Odd, because you may say that this doesn't technically relate to Boeing. Well, and you'd be right, but see, the A320neo at the time when it was being discussed and launched really represented a new era for the narrow-body scene, given it was a re-engine, and Boeing was just a little bit unprepared. The company knew that a clean sheet would take too long to enter the market, so it began really a frantic chase to find ways to limit the grip Airbus may have on the future market. As a result, and after much deliberation, Boeing believed that the quickest way to get an aircraft to market would be to extend the capabilities of the 737 family once more into the MAX. As highlighted in later investigations, corners were cut to get this aircraft on the market and limit Boeing's losses. This immediate chase for profits, and thus a drop in the integrity of the aircraft being put out, led to many problems now occurring we're seeing into the 2020s. But just generally, the 2010s and the 2020s have represented some of the company's darker days, and it has been incredibly frustrating to follow. I think no one wants Boeing to be in the situation they're in. They're a leading aircraft manufacturer. We need them to be thriving, but that seems increasingly harder day by day. Looking ahead, for the long term, the manufacturer will want to try and put all of this behind it and move forward in a more positive manner. When that is, I think that's the multi-billion-dollar question. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments regarding the latest developments surrounding the 787, and hopefully tomorrow I'll actually be back with the regular proceeding of Aviation News Recap. Trust me, they're waiting to go live. I've just got no idea when I can put them out because something continuously keeps happening that is super breaking. Thanks a lot, and I'll see you then. And we'll fly.